Welcome to University Drive, your pathway to the transformational work of University of the Bahamas. Our goal is to build a better Bahamas by shaping tomorrow's leaders today, finding solutions to challenges, and forging new opportunities for growth. University Drive, where faculty, staff, students, and alumni travel the road of progress together with you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to University Drive. We are so excited to have you join us for this episode. We are in season 12 of University Drive. That's right. So many shows, so many stories of progress. We have an exciting show for you in this first episode of the 12th season. Today, we're diving into the intersection of art and technology, where creativity meets innovation. 5 extraordinary students from University of the Bahamas have made history with their groundbreaking NFT creations, merging the power of blockchain technology with artistic expression. These visionary projects, celebrated with $10,000 prizes, reflect the future of digital art made possible through the support of Cordell Broadus and the Champ Medici Arts Fund in collaboration with the Tezos Foundation. Joining us, we have our friends and colleagues from UB's School of Communication and Creative Arts and from the Faculty of Liberal and Fine Arts. And joining us to tell us all about it are the Dean of Liberal and Fine Arts, Dr. Douglas Barkey. Also, we have faculty members in the School of Communication and Creative Arts, Heino Schmidt, and also Christian Justilian, along with Chair of the school, Keishan Monroe. And we also have our students here. We have Alicia Pinder, we have Madison Cartwright, Elson Gray, and we have Alyssa Pinder. So not with us right now is Gene Joseph, but he was also one of the winners in this fantastic project. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, Tamika.
Good night. Thank you.
It's
Great to be here. Thank you for having us.
Well, let's dive right on in. This is such an exciting project. What I would like to do is to start with you, Dr. Barkey. Tell us all how this came to be. This came about from a partnership involving Cordell Broadus and the Champ Medici Arts Fund, and we've been seeing a lot of press about it, and Broadus is the youngest benefactor to University of the Bahamas. Tell us how this came to be.
Yeah, that's right. It really was an exciting moment, but it's a combination of the Champ Medici Arts Fund and the Tezos Foundation. Tezos is the platform and also the sponsor and part of the prize that was given out. But about 2 years ago, Champ, who's also Cordell Broadus, that's sort of his professional name. Anyway, he was purchasing a property here in the Bahamas, and he wanted, as part of that process, he got really interested in the Bahamas, right? And he had been here as a child also. And so he wanted to give back. And so he first thing he thought of was the university. He thought, I want to connect to the university. Let me find out what they're doing. So he came over. He went on a tour of the university with Dr. Yaki and a number of faculty. He loved the place, and he got really excited about the whole possibility of doing something in the arts. And by the arts, I mean both music and visual arts as well. And came up with this idea to have the Arts Fund. And the Arts Fund is kind of a very special thing because it's not just a grant like any old grant, right? It's just money to do anything. It had a specific aspect to it, which was to do a competition in which students would create artwork, which they would then convert to NFTs and post on the internet. So there's this whole learning process, and that's a connection to technology. Not only did he do that, but then this is why I think he's a incredible benefactor, because he also thought, okay, they also need the equipment to get this done. So his foundation donated $100,000, $50,000 for equipment, and $50,000 to be divided between 5 students or 5 groups, 5 winning groups. So that's sort of how it all came about. We actually took about 2 years to develop the MOU for it. And then it really kicked off last April with the promotion of the competition itself. We had workshops given by Tezos, and over the summer and into the fall, students worked on these artworks along with their faculty. That's sort of the whole thing in a nutshell for you.
Wow. So there is the platform, there's the inspiration for your creative energy. There's being exposed to something new and new knowledge and learning. There's the infusion of technology. There's interest from a benefactor. There's working closely with somebody who actually wants to mentor you and show you a way for your art to take off in a major way. All of this for me, and I must admit, I have a slight bias for the School of Communication and Creative Arts, right? Being a grad of the school, but all of this for me sounds so exciting. And this is exactly the kind of things that, students of today should be involved in and exposed to. So let's start with you, Madison. When you found out about this opportunity, what was your reaction? And then what made you want to participate in this opportunity?
Okay, so I first heard about the event back in the spring semester, but like I didn't have much information about it until like it resurfaced in the fall semester. But originally the reason why I was interested in it was because it didn't have like any like restrictions art wise, so we could do anything we wanted, and the yeah, that's basically it. That's basically why.
All right, I'll take that. And Alicia, what was it for you? What pulled you into this?
Hi, good night. So, what pulled me into it was basically what Madison said, the reign of freedom and choice in creating NFT tokens. And I found it quite interesting because I never did it before. So, it piqued my interest a bit.
Okay, what I should have done when Madison spoke was to ask her to tell us a little bit about her background. We'll get back to her, but for you, Alicia, let our listeners know what is your major and what are your future hopes so that they can have a little bit of context about you and the creativity that you brought to bear in this project.
Well, first of all, my name is Alicia Pinder. I am a dual degree majoring in education, music education, as well as performing arts, the BA. And my future aspirations is to become a composer. I want to kind of break the boundaries a bit and be the first, not the first, but you know what? Yes, the first female Bahamian composer, like to make it primarily big and be on the world stage. So that's my future aspiration.
All right, I'm down with that. Own that. Own that. Okay. So dual degree major, we already know that you don't sleep then. Let's establish that. And so going back to Madison, tell us about you.
Hello again. Okay, I'm an art major, the visual arts major. And like my main goal in art is to like convey stories and like interesting worlds to people for people to get lost in. So like I intend to specialize in like concept art and like visual development. So like stuff like movies and animated shorts, stuff like that. And like eventually like open a studio.
Okay, very good. And one of the other winners in this competition is Nelson Gray. Nelson, you were one of the students who won 10K. Tell us about yourself and then tell us what made you want to participate in this opportunity, in this competition.
Good day, everyone. What? Well, a little bit about myself. I'm an architecture major and an art major, so I'm also a dual major as well. Some of my future aspirations, they kind of changed over the years. I'm not gonna lie. One of my first degree programs was industrial design, which was like in Canada, and then I kind of like shifted to graphic design, again to marketing before I landed here in the University of Bahamas and came into architecture. Growing up would be art direction, major project, could be anything. It doesn't have to be like anything related to art. Could be like cinematography, or it could be animation. anything creative. What got me into the NFT thing? I actually didn't really know about it, and coming into the semester, I thought it was a scam, to be honest, because I keep seeing it like come up inside the emails, and then how we always have the UB like spam emails what we get
Mm-hmm.
often. I thought it was a scam, and then Mr. Schmidt kind of confirmed it, and so I had to like like lock into that particular project whilst kind of complete my schoolwork and stuff like that. So
Okay, well, thank you for that. And Alyssa, last but not least, because one of our students isn't on this particular episode, but Alyssa.
Hi. Okay, so I am an art major, visual arts major. Um, my aspirations are more in the realm of animation and concept designs. I'm really big on storytelling. I study writing, not at UB, but in my solo time. So I like narrative work. When I first heard about this project, I was also very concerned about it. I thought it might be a scam, and especially knowing about NFTs, I had a little bit of knowledge about them, and it was sort of a shaky territory. I was very unsure about it, but after hearing from Mr. Schmidt that it was like a legit thing, I immediately just tried making up concepts and doing research into the Medici name to create a piece for the project.
No scam and no spam, just a golden opportunity and an odyssey into innovation. And so, Heino Schmidt, you are one of the faculty members who worked along with the student in order to produce and develop and guide them. When you found out about this opportunity, what feelings were stirred within you? What possibilities did you see? I mean, NFTs, non fungible tokens, by the way, that is a subject matter that doesn't pop up every day as a learning ground right now. It's emerging for us in the Bahamas in terms of our knowledge of it and connection with it, and really learning about this whole digital landscape and sphere, right? What thoughts came to your mind, and how did you approach getting involved with this?
Good evening, everybody. I was just very excited to hear for it, or hear about it. I was extremely interested in the prize money that these guys were eligible to get. I thought $10,000 was tremendous as a single prize, and the fact that there was five of them kind of floating around. And also, I think I could understand why some of the previous some students here and then outside, when I was given presentations about it, were kind of wondering if it was a scam. But it all seemed legit, and I was very happy to do it. And I also liked the idea of integrating technology into the work. I have lots and lots of requests throughout the semester for the last, and I've noticed a change. I've been at the university for just over a decade now, and I've noticed a change in the last few years, especially since coming out of the pandemic lockdown, that there's this massive um, interest in kind of digital work, digital problem solving with stylus, pens, and iPads, and just animation in general. So there's a lot more insular kind of way of thinking and working. And I don't mean that as a negative. It's actually just seems like a very organic way of doing of visual problem solving. So I was very interested in this as an opportunity to take that digital medium to another level. And yeah, it was just very exciting. And one thing I did like about this program, especially Champ Medici's involvement, but also the Tezos Foundations. They set up numerous workshops, which every student had to do. I chose to do it as well, just so I could kind of figure out how to mint my own NFT. And they picked up a new skill. I think there is something to be said for that old adage. Give a person a fish, you feed them once, teach them how to fish, you feed them for a lifetime. So I think they were able to like pick up a new skill to kind of have in their back pocket of like, well, I did this one thing. Even those that didn't win suddenly have this very unique skill of uploading images as an NFT into this blockchain technology, have a little bit more of an idea, and if they are interested, they can actually have their their toe in the water, and they can actually dive in a little bit more deeply if that process is interesting. So I was a big fan of that as an opportunity.
Yeah, I'm just fascinated by the multiple levels of learning that went on in this process. Chris Justilian, musical genius extraordinaire. You were right there guiding Alicia.
The route that I chose to take was really to put the ball in their hands and not to interfere with their own creativity. I think it's always good to see that the work that you're putting in over time, if they can put it to use, put it into creative use and benefit from the end product. And I think Alicia did a very, very fine job. Over the years, she's run several compositions that she's done to me, and I make comments or critique them. And she always take it with a wonderful spirit. And I think that is why she probably rose to the top, because she follows instructions very well. She listens to the criticisms that we would give without being offended, so to speak. But I'm just happy for all of our music students to have this golden opportunity. And I too understand the skepticism, because, when you're getting into a new territory, in the digital realm, it's uncharted territory, and I'm happy that they came out on the positive side here in the Bahamas, here at the University of the Bahamas, and putting their skills earned to work.
That's wonderful. Let's go back to Nelson. You have one foot in architecture and one foot in art. You have now confirmed that it's not a scam, that this is a legit competition. You're being asked to create artwork that is going to be going on the blockchain technology, Tezos. How did you approach this particular project such that you ended up producing what you titled Flower? Take us through the process.
To be honest, it was not a challenging process. As a matter of fact, like I was pretty into NFTs prior to this kind of opportunity. I was actually in the process of creating my own NFT collection about 3 years ago. So the process was pretty easy in terms of minting and coming up with ideas. I had this like photograph I had taken of one of my friends earlier in the last semester, and I kind of repurposed it and then kind of drew some sketches. I took about, I would say, maybe like 3 hours to come up with a sketch. Then I started laying stuff in, and as like the deadline kind of kicked in, that's when I kind of punched it into Gale and kind of got the work completed. And so, yeah, that was really it.
Were you excited at all? And students, you can jump in. Were you excited at all about the prospect of working with Cordell Broadus and the Tezos Foundation? Did that bring any kind of excitement?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, absolutely.
It was really a
Absolutely.
wonderful opportunity. I was very excited.
Well, go ahead, Alyssa. Is that Alyssa? Tell us about the process of engaging in this new learning and new knowledge.
Well, yes, it was pretty new for me. Like I said earlier, my knowledge of NFTs was pretty surface level. But when I attended the workshops or watched the recordings of the workshops, it was like a very in-depth explanation. And it was a very interesting concept, being able to trace back all the way to the original owner of the piece in that way. But as for actually making the piece, it's fairly similar to how I would go about all of my other digital pieces because I've been doing digital work for quite a few years now. So it was really a sort of standard procedure for me. And I really just wanted to have fun with it and do something that was personal to me. So I did research into certain things, but I also made it closely related to me.
Okay, so tell us about the Marble Knight, as it's called, which is a representation of the Medici family crest, but it has a native flair. So tell us about that.
Yes. So the Medici family, I found out, was a sort of royal family of art donors in sort of Renaissance time Italy. And so I really just ran with that. And I saw their family crest and I thought it looked really beautiful. So I found a version of it that sort of inspired a character. It had like a knight's helmet with a crown and all these tassels and robes. So I used that to create a character, which is the Marble Knight. And I made it to be a marble statue. And it was interesting to try a couple of new techniques with it.
I'm curious, did knowing that was going to be on the Tezos blockchain, did knowing that inspire any new kind of creativity or give any new inspiration to any of you?
Yes, ma'am. Just a little bit. I felt like an NFT should look a certain way. I feel since the NFT would not really exist in real life, I feel as though the work that I would have contributed wouldn't necessarily have to be a real life scenario or a real life kind of storyline per se. So I can make it as, I would say, as oddball as I could possibly make it. You know what I mean? Have like a bunch of like different colors and stuff like that because it exists on the interweb. So when I think about the interweb, I think about, flashy stuff, flashy colors, neon lights, stuff like that. And so that actually did play a role on what I wanted to see or what I wanted an NFT to kind of look like.
Okay, and Alicia, you did a composition. I believe that you worked a little bit with another student on what you produced. Tell us about that process and how you came up with Potion.
Yes, sure. So collectively, me and this other student, his name is Daniel Saunders, we're kind of weird in the sense of we don't write the music kind of writes itself. And so primarily I came up with most of it, like 90% of it, and Daniel just did his thing to make the music come to life in terms of the bridge part. And so with Potion, I thought of a theme. I thought of a theme at first, and I kind of hear the pitches as well, and so that's what I wrote first, and then I branched off into the harmonies, and then the percussion, and then what I also kept in mind is that for my audience, I don't want them to only have a auditory experience, but a visual one. And so with Potion, as I kept listening to the song on repeat and repeat, Um, I kind of just heard this witch's theme, and I related to a twist off with Little Red Riding Hood, and I just renamed the characters as Little Boy Blue and the forest and the cabins, and this is what I saw. And so Daniel also helped me in creating that story and that theme line as well, because he kind of saw the same thing and the direction in which the music was heading. So collaboratively, we really had a great time doing this project.
Yeah, you could almost hear the mystique when you listen to it.
Yes, most definitely.
So we've come to the point for our break of the show. You're listening to University Drive. We'll have more about the chronicles of this winning team of UB students after this break.
Chapter One Bookstore is proud to serve the students, faculty, and staff of the University of the Bahamas and the community at large. We are the premier choice for the purchase of university textbooks and supplies, and UB logo apparel, paraphernalia, and gifts. We also carry a wide variety of school supplies, learning aids, and leisure books. Visit our copy center for all of your printing, copying, and binding needs. Chapter One Bookstore is located on the ground floor of the Michael H. Eldon Complex on University Drive. Shop with us on Monday through Saturday. You can contact us at 397-2650 or email at chapter1@ub.edu.bs. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Chapter One Bookstore. Chapter One, the premier choice.
Welcome back to University Drive. Okay, so Keishan Monroe, one of the things that I was interested in when it came to this whole undertaking is the multiple layers of engagement by Champ. The fact that, it didn't appear that he just wanted it to be a monetary donation and then he disappeared, right? And so a part of the financial support that he gave went towards purchasing equipment, and we'll get into a little bit of that and speak to Mr. Justilian about that. But I'm wondering about whether what happened here serves almost like a model for some other things that could potentially emanate in the future.
I think it was definitely a tremendous opportunity, not only for our students, but for the school itself in order to advance, especially the programs being performing arts and visual arts. I think that the contribution was very kind. I think that it acted as a stimulus. It actually helped us out with our program reviews and our program developments as well, because, we review our programs and we have to forecast where we see ourselves being in the next 5 years or so. And a part of what our forecast involved was the digitization of artwork, 21st century art production. And what does that look like? That involves AI, it involves game design, digital renderings. And all of our students were already expressing interest in those fields. So I thought it was a very timely opportunity that we had somebody from, a major country, who's already attached to a celebrity, who they're basically entrepreneurs, right? He is a very accomplished young man as well, if you know a little bit about his story and where he's coming from. So I think it was the right time for something like this to take place. The NFTs come at a time when people are still a bit skeptical about it, right? But it was the same way with Bitcoin. And we all know where Bitcoin is right now, is almost like priceless. So I think this was a tremendous opportunity to introduce our students once again to 21st century art production, especially in the visual arts and design and the music programs. They actually got an opportunity to work with major companies who this is what they do, this is what they focus on. So they were able to engage in these workshops, which actually became a part of the syllabus, right? And so they had this very, very unique opportunity to have their works digitized, to learn a little bit more about the best practices in order to make these things happen. Not only that, but we got equipment to help facilitate these various productions that they wanted to engage in. We got some of the equipment a little bit late, but the good thing about it is Champ wasn't really too concerned that we got it that late once the students finally got the equipment. So the whole point of having the equipment is that students will learn. And we all understood that you don't always get things in the time that you want it, but once the students have that opportunity to have access to the information, access to the equipment. And so once again, it has helped our program to evolve, our programs to evolve, because we now have this equipment. We have this understanding of how to create these NFTs. Our students understand a little bit better about blockchain, the processes, and it shows them that art is something that could actually be self-sustaining. You don't have to be a starving artist, not in this era, right? It teaches them about entrepreneurship and the fact that you can't ever win if you don't ever apply, right? So it teaches them not only to refine their skills, but how to apply their skills, right? And so one of the goals I've had since becoming chair of the School of Communication and Creative Arts is helping our students to really grow their resumes, know how to identify opportunities, how to engage with these various institutions, organizations, individuals who might be in positions to help them refine their talents, right? Because that is what art is all about. It's a visual communication. It's communicating through music. It's really communicating with humankind. And so this equipment that we have gotten access to, this new stimulus that our students are now responding to, is all a part of this great transition that I think is taking place right now in the university as we seek accreditation as well. So we're in a state of flux, and I think that we have a very positive trajectory. And once again, it's already showing up in our program review, right? So in the near future, we hope to offer more courses that are more catered to digital designs. Like a few of the students I've already spoken to, they were already dealing with digital art, right? So it wasn't a far stretch for them to really engage in this NFT or digital production, because this is something they're already passionate about. So now they have more access to it, and they can more freely express themselves through this technology, through this medium, which is current. And one thing Cham spoke about is not only having that representation, but having access to the technology in time. I think he said you don't want to be late to the game. And so what this opportunity has afforded us and our students is the fact that we can be working on these things while they are still trending, right? While they are still current. So for a long time, I know the visual arts and design department has been needing equipment, supplies, etc. Same thing with the music, with the performing arts department. So like I said, it acted as a stimulus for us to grow what it is that we have to offer and to allow our students to explore. It's interesting hearing these students speak as well, because when I was studying in university, I also I had a double major. Animation and painting were my two majors. So it was interesting to see these students, they're like on opposite ends of the spectrum almost. So exploration is going to happen. And so this type of mentality is something that we hope to foster in the School of Communication and Creative Arts. We are more focused on interdisciplinary approaches to art production, as well as transdisciplinary approaches to art. So interdisciplinary would involve different disciplines kind of fusing together, collaborations. I think it was Alyssa Alicia who spoke about the collaboration process for them, right? And so that tends to happen when you speak about digital art, when you speak about animation and productions. You have to collaborate, right? And you have to understand music, you have to understand animation, you have to understand the ins and outs, and to a certain degree, you have to be generalist. So I think this particular opportunity and this experience for our students is going to propel them. It acts as a great highlight on their resume. I know several of them have already gotten other opportunities in terms of persons interested in their work. And we wish to promote very positively the positive things that are happening within the School of Communication and Creative Arts. So we want to be more visible and show to the world the greatness of our students, to show what they are learning, to show what they are teaching and also communicating. So I want this momentum to continue. And I think in the near future, CCA, the School of Communication and Creative Arts, is going to be doing a lot of groundbreaking work that's going to cast a highlight. It's going to cast a very positive light on the work that has been done over the years, but it's going to give it a different type of visibility. And I think now is the time. And once again, we'd like to thank Cordell Broaddus, the Champ Medici Art Fund, and Tezos, because I've been in the Bahamas. I grew up in the Bahamas as an artist, and this type of opportunity is unprecedented. This is the first time I've ever heard about a $10,000 award, right? Multiply that by 5. So I really, really wanted our students to take advantage of this opportunity. You can't win if you never apply, right? So that's one thing that I'm really proud of. These students who did win is not only did they apply, but they did an excellent job. I'm proud of all of them. And a few of them are actually freshmen. So that's another very interesting thing. So yeah, we at the School of Communication and Creative Arts, we have a lot of talent in our students as well as in our faculty. And I think we have a lot to offer the university, and people are going to see more of our value.
Okay, pushing the boundaries of knowledge and exploration. Cordell Broaddus did gift the University of the Bahamas $100,000, 50,000 of which went towards the purchase of much needed equipment. Christian Justilian, let's talk about that, because we're really talking about increasing capacity.
This is an exciting time, especially for the music department. I'd like to thank all of the students for their contribution, because what they have done really is to pave the way for future generations, not just persons who are attending the university at this time. I've been at the university now for well over 25 years, and this is the first time we've received a gift of this kind. What is going to happen over the next few years? Students have access to equipment, digital recording, where they can produce their own music. We have this microphones, mixers, electronic drum sets, you name it, and the computer and the software to back the work that goes into today's music production projects. I'm really looking forward for greater works from our students, because as the chair said, we are in an era where we have to strike where the iron is hot, where we have access, where the technology is relevant. We don't want to be walking behind where the world is going today. I'm really excited that the students not only benefited personally, but in participating, they have made an awesome contribution to the future well-being of our department and the university at large. So I'm looking forward to new music being produced, students gaining more knowledge, more relevant knowledge of what it is to be a producer in the area of music and art. The same. It's just a wonderful time, and I must say hats off and thanks to the Medici group that gave this most generous gift, it's going to go a long way for many years. It's going to benefit our students and faculty alike.
I just love the optimism. That's wonderful.
That's one of the things I really love about this project. And listening to the students talk, I really understand or could see how the authenticity of the project was really important. The fact that there was a real prize on the line, the fact that there would eventually meet champ, all those pieces that went around this project helped to make it more realistic, more real life, and it's like a way of sort of scaffolding into life as a creative professional. Those are all elements: the competition, the deadline, the having to create something from nothing, all that creativity, imagination that had to be invested in that process is the same that you'd have to do if you're out working as a creative professional. And so I really like that they were able to do that at this point. The fact that they were, well, first of all, technology speaking, this just kind of the equipment that we were able to get just bumped us up a whole new level. It really will bring to the students a whole new set of tools that they'll have at their disposal. I really like what Professor Cillian said about there's going to be a lot of new music produced. I mean, that's exactly right. And there'll be a lot of new visual arts produced and things that couldn't have happened before because the equipment wasn't available. We now have scanners, printers. We have the power of the computer to create animations, work with 3D modeling, for example, use the latest version of the software. These are all key things that if you're going to be functioning in the very competitive world of the arts, is you have to have that technology, access to it, and the knowledge on how to use it. So I just thought this was just a earth-shattering experience, and it's even impacted, I think, the arts world in the Bahamas, like in our little island in Nassau, because other artists are noticing. Well, for one, all the students, their work has been seen on television, in the newspaper. It's of course available. You can link to it, look at it online. So they've got exposure, and other artists, other young artists, whether they're in high school or past college, can see that work, see that it was awarded. The whole Tezos platform, and Champ Medici is a whole other platform. One of the people that spoke there was a previous winner of the Champ Medici Arts Fund, and he talked about how that prize led him to all kinds of new things, contracts with Disney and Nike and all kinds of things. So this little moment, right? This little moment can really launch a lot of new opportunities for people.
Opportunities in this era of UB. I think I'll ask this one to Heino. In your opinion, what does the future of digital art look like, especially with the growing influence and emergence of like NFTs? How can UB perhaps be a leader in this kind of space?
Absolutely. I think these guys are kind of in the art department are proving it now. And I just like to say that I had very, if any, like involvement with anybody designing their NFTs. My job was just to send out emails and clap my hands at the beginning of class and remind them of deadlines. So this is all independent creative processing that they did to kind of get their work online. But to answer your question a little bit more specifically, and perhaps Professor Monroe can even jump in when I'm done. But I think there's a huge market for it. One of the things that people don't realize with art, especially the way I look at it in terms of the legitimacy of NFTs, is one of the big problems in art is actually provenance over time. And what the blockchain technology does is it allows you to consistently and without gaps see how your artwork has been bought and sold and gifted and moved from space to space, and how you and your work, I should say, are maneuvering in that digital space. And ironically, it's a lot more lucid and it's a lot clearer than it is in the actual art market. Provenance is a huge issue, I think, for artists over a certain age, and it's not even that old. So this is an interesting thing to kind of map out in terms of how art is moved and collected. And then also, as we kind of move toward a more digital age and things like the metaverse and all these other like digital opportunities that are pulling you into these in these other worlds, you will find very soon that you will be able to almost decorate your own home, your metaverse home, with original NFTs as well. Like I know I was reading something a few months back, like that was going to be implemented as well. So you can actually have a very specific on a digital kind of gallery, but it's not just thumbnails on a page. It's actually decked out that you could navigate with an Oculus or something like that. So I mean, it's coming very soon in the next, the next 4 or 5 years. I think you'll start to see the beginnings of that. And I definitely believe we have the creativity and the manpower to lead in that regard, especially in the region. I know the interest is there from students. I can say that. Unless I'm wrong, guys, you could jump in if you need to.
Listen, it is amazing how quickly time flies. We're almost at the end of our time together here on the show. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to ask all of the students in the time that we have left, how has this experience impacted your journey as an artist?
I would say personally, this experience is just another stepping stone to my goals of the future. And I definitely don't ever want to stop or get caught up in just one award. I always want to keep improving and getting better at my craft and reaching the future goals that I have set for myself.
Very noble indeed. Awesome. And Madison?
Well, with the award, like it gives me the freedom to like further pursue what I want to do. So I think that's great.
And Nelson?
I believe it was an excellent opportunity. I think this year was a good year for me, artistically, and not the only opportunity I was able to get, but I was very fortunate that this one was able to kind of manifest itself. And so I am hoping to kind of add more things like this, more accolades to my resume in the near future, most definitely.
The sky's the limit. And the impact on you, Alicia?
Yes, it was one for the books. I believe that this was a very, very great opportunity, and it gave me the necessary confidence that I needed in terms of composition. And like my parents said, it's just a stepping stone on what's about to come ahead.
Okay, and in the time we have left, let's go to Chair Monroe and some wrap-up comments on this whole experience, the partnership, the enduring impact, and what's ahead.
What's ahead? You mentioned the word positivity. I love the positivity that is being spoken about right now. The fact that you have somebody who isn't even in the Bahamas or from the Bahamas contributing to the Bahamas. You have these wonderful artists who are here who are speaking about the courage that they now have in order to move even more boldly out into the world to explore their creative dreams, right? They have the opportunity to use that money to, if they want to, pump it back into their creative endeavors, so to speak. And it shows them that you can survive doing what you want to do. And the art of today is not what art in the Bahamas used to be 20 years ago, 30 years ago, right? The world got a lot smaller because of the globalization due to technology, right? And Heino was speaking about technology. We have to pay careful attention to modern technology such as artificial intelligence, right? So a project like this really forces our students to pay attention to what's happening in the world. How is artificial intelligence going to affect me? Because that is a reality that I don't think people think about deeply enough, but it's definitely a reality that our art students need to learn more about, especially when you're speaking about provenance, or being able to track the history of an object or a creation back to its origin, right? So these are the things we need our students to be thinking about. These are the current issues of the world. And even though our departments are still what we would consider small, we are preparing our students to be global thinkers, to be global leaders. We have professors who are prolific artists, prolific creators. So this is very fertile ground. You have persons who know how to refine the talents. You have students who are very eager to learn. Not only eager to learn, but they have the audacity to achieve. And that's a very, very, very fertile ground that we are now churning up. And I'm looking forward to see what blossoms from that, because hopefully we continue to attract these levels or this type of quality student where we can really show to the rest of the world, because the Bahamas has a plethora of creative artists, right? High quality. We see it every year. Junkanoo, every time you see a costume, people come from every other part of the world and they're blown away. But we just see it as an everyday thing, right? This is the quality, this is the level of creativity and ingenuity that we have in the Bahamas. So this opportunity, these series of events, gives us another way to harness this creative energy and to export it globally, right? To show our creative prowess. And it provides us in the School of Communication and Creative Arts the opportunity to grow, right? Not to be like everyone else, but to set ourselves apart and to be unique and to show not only what our department has to offer, but how we see the world and how we can help other people see the world from our perspective. And I think that's one thing that you're going to find as we move forward in this school. We are small, but we know that we are very unique, right? And we can take, just as Junkanoo is created, we can take very, very little and create it into these very flamboyant, very mind-blowing performances, costumes, creations. And so I feel very optimistic about it. Once again, I thank everyone involved. I thank you, Ms. Lundy, for giving us this opportunity to express ourselves. And once again, stay tuned for what's going on in CCA, because this is only the beginning. And I'm very glad that these students had this grand platform in order to be introduced to the world as the type of artists that they are. And it seems as though everyone is on the cutting edge and moving forward.
Great. Dean Barkey, we are in a new era of possibilities. Your wrap-up comments and thoughts as we transition off the air.
Well, I believe this is going to lead us to some new programs. We are building a BFA in Studio Arts that's going to have a digital art track. And my understanding from Champ as he left is he's very interested in working with us next year on developing game design. So I believe that game design is right on the cusp of coming to UB.
It has been such an exciting conversation, such an enlightening conversation. Student success, community impact, new possibilities and opportunities, exposing students at University of the Bahamas to new knowledge and the emerging technologies. Sounds like we're in for an exciting ride into audacity. Thank you all for being here for this show. You're listening to University Drive. I've been your host, Tamika Lundy. We will be back next week, same time, same station. Thank you and bye for now.
University Drive is a production of the Office of University Relations at University of the Bahamas. All rights reserved.